Shall we start, sir?
Yeah, we can start now. Right.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. On behalf of the institution and department of EEE, I wholeheartedly welcome our resource person, Dr. T. Sudhakar. Now I call upon Mr. M. Tyagarajan, Assistant Professor, Department of EEE, to introduce our resource person. Please, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. It's my great honor to introduce our great chief guest. Dr. Sudhakar TD was born on 14 June 1980 in Chennai, Tamil Nadu. He received BE degree in Electrical and Electronics Engineering from Sri Sai Ram College of Engineering, Madras University, in the year of 2001. He qualified in GATE 2002 with a score of 91.34 percentile. He did his master's in MD Power System Engineering from Tyagarajar College of Engineering, Madurai, Anna University, the year of 2004. He has got his first PhD degree in the area of power system from Anna University in 2012. He is employed with Saint Joseph College of Engineering, Chennai, as a professor and have more than 17 years of experience. He has completed his second PhD degree in power electronics in the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering of B.S. Abdul Rahman Rasan Institute of Science and Technology in 2020. His area of interest include power system restoration, reconfiguration, grid connected system, power quality, and DC to DC converters. He has published 48 papers in the journals and presented 46 papers in the international and national conferences. He is an editorial member in the journal and reviewer in many Annexer 1 journals. He is an University recognized supervisor and currently guiding 7 research scholars. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving opportunity. Kindly hand over the session to our chief guest. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Tyagarajan, sir. Thank you very much. I hope my screen is visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you. Okay. All right. I thank you, sir, for the introduction, and I thank the management and organizing members of RSC Engineering College for giving me this opportunity for doing this presentation in Atal FTP. Right. So my topic for today's presentation is hybrid energy storage system for battery-based electrical vehicles. So this is the topic based on which I'm going to do this, speak about for the next 1 hour. So first of all, we all know that, but starting from introduction, what is an electrical vehicle? So electrical vehicle is a electrical drive vehicle in which the vehicle uses one or more motors for propulsion. So how these electrical vehicles are classified? So these electrical vehicles are classified in number of ways, like hybrid electrical vehicle, plug-in hybrid electrical vehicle, and finally the battery electrical vehicle. So what is this hybrid electrical vehicle? So we all know that in today's world, our vehicle runs basically on petrol or diesel or cars. But for ignition purpose, we have a battery inside our vehicle. So those types of vehicle which relies on 2 energy sources. So in our cars currently we use either electrical or not either, we use 2 energy sources, that is electrical and mechanical. So the electrical one is for starting purpose. For running purpose, we use the mechanical energy, that is internal combustion engine is used. So these vehicles we call it as hybrid electrical vehicles. There are another type of classification, plug-in hybrid electrical vehicles. So what is this plug-in hybrid electrical vehicle? So we had a duo cars. Okay, earlier period we had a duo car. That is, that car will either run in gas as well as petrol. So similarly, a car was introduced which can run both in electrical energy and petrol or diesel. So like this, a hybrid combination of vehicle running using electrical energy and mechanical energy. So this combination they call it as plug-in. So because we had a problem earlier, however, till now it is on rectification stage only. That is cheaper power. Cost is very high of electrical vehicles, and distance, speed, all those things are to be taken care of. So it is a one of the problem which exists even now. Okay, so that has to be is being restored. That's one of the research area currently. So the inside this vehicles, that battery banks will be there. That has to be externally charged. So from the externally power supply source, we go into this charging of vehicles. And finally, the third type is my battery electrical vehicle. So battery electrical vehicles, this purely runs only with electrical batteries. Earlier two cases in hybrid electrical vehicle and plug-in hybrid electrical vehicles, there will be internal combustion engine. But whereas in this case, it is not so. Okay, so that this type of vehicle only is the main concentration. So it internally has electrical batteries, so it has to be charged from an external source. So once it is charged, we can use that vehicle for certain distance. So next is a small history of the electrical vehicle. An interesting fact was, earlier this electrical vehicle was the first introduced vehicle, and later on which only internal combustion engine was introduced. Why internal combustion engines was introduced? Because that time, because of two drawbacks. One is the cost is very high because of battery. Large distance cannot be traveled. So this was the two reasons. Okay, so in order to overcome that, we are using this internal combustion engine. But now we are moving towards electrical. Why? Because again, two reasons. What are the two reasons? The petrol and diesel prices are becoming very high, and second one, there is a possibility that in near future this petrol and diesel will not be available. So because of these two factors, we are trying to move towards again to the electrical vehicles. So how this history of electrical vehicles was there? So in 1830, the idea of developing a electrical based vehicle was introduced. So for that, the research work has been started. So in 1891, a first vehicle was introduced, electrically based vehicle, and in 1900, another vehicle named A-Day was introduced. But the successful model at that time was 1908, a Ford company introduced Model T, which is shown in the top figure. So this model was very popular in that time. But because of this two major drawbacks, larger distance cannot be traveled, and second one, cost is very high. It was not successful. Many people were not able to afford it. Later, 1970, again, because of this environmental pollution, the government's thought of going in for back towards electrical vehicle, because the pollution of petrol and diesel vehicles are very high. So the government thought, why can't we go back to the electrical vehicle from the internal combustion? So the research started. So lot of Vanguard Sebrings, the model which is given below. So it is one of the car which was introduced. Okay, but the difficulty cost was very high. They don't want to able to reduce this cost. In 1988, General Motors introduced the electrical vehicle first model, is shown in the top figure, with its charging unit. Okay, so yeah, up to 2000, they were an idea of using electrical vehicle, but the cost of the vehicle was not being reduced, and battery was a major issue there. So because of these factors, around 2003, they completely stopped the production of electrical vehicles. But what happens? But Tesla was doing research continuously. Okay, Tesla was doing continuously research. They want to upgrade the modern technologies. Okay, so more because due to the advancement of power electronics, due to the advancement of chemical engineering field, lot of research work has been done in this field. So based on that, the battery size was reduced. So in 2007, Tesla released a model which was very much similar. Okay, so the cost was only very high, but this vehicle, what happens, it can travel for at least for 100 or 200 miles or some around 300 kilometers. So the progress was doing on. So now in 2020 they have released the model Tesla Model 10. So in this, it can travel up to 400 kilometers with a single charge. So charging hours also they are reducing. So if you go for high power charging station, you can do it in offer 80% of charging can be done in nearly half an hour. So this they are starting building up now. So nearly in another 10 years of time, there may be a situation where most of the vehicles in our road will be of electrical energy. All the companies now have started. Honda, Maruti, everything has started a research plant and designing of their own electrical vehicles. So just a basic diagram which shows what are all the components of electrical vehicle. If you see that nearly the internal combustion number of components in internal combustion engine vehicle and number of components in electrical vehicle, the total number of components is nearly 1/3 only when you compare to with that of electrical vehicle to our regular vehicles. So it is around only 1/3. So the major components are electric traction motor, which can be a BLDC motor, power electronics controller, okay, DC-DC converters, thermal system cooling, traction battery packs, charge port, transition, onboard charger, and auxiliary battery. So there are two types of battery. One battery is for traction battery pack and another one is auxiliary battery. So this traction battery is mainly for running purpose. Okay, so for running the vehicle, this one will be there. Whereas this auxiliary battery is for when the vehicle is in switched off condition, we require for starting also this auxiliary battery can support. Like in our normal internal combustion. So starting purpose, a battery is there. Running engine is there. So like this is there. So each components, every one. So what is this purpose of auxiliary battery? So when the vehicle is in off condition or to start this vehicle's additional supply is required. So that is the reason of this auxiliary battery. Next one is charging port. Okay, this charging port, why we require charging port? So to charge these batteries. So normally what does another thing available in this charge port is normally the available voltage is AC. This charge port converts this AC to DC, so that using that output DC voltage, we can very well charge the batteries. So next one is the DC-DC converter. So input voltage will be of a different level. So this charger porter itself will step down But if I want to further step down it, I will use a DC-DC converters because uniform voltage has to be given for controlling the charging the batteries. In real time, we will not be getting the required same voltage levels in the input side. So this converter maintains how much voltage is to be gone by having a closed loop control. So earlier they used buck boost converters, but now latest converters has been lower converters. All these high gain DC-DC converters are there. So which we'll see in the coming stages. Using those converters, this systems functions. So next one is the electric traction motor. So as I said, this main aim of this motor is to make the vehicle to run. So there, instead of internal combustion engine, here we have motor. Okay, so this motor is connected to the drive mechanism. Those drive mechanism makes the wheel to rotate. Next one is the onboard charger. So any battery if you take, we require a charge controller for proper functioning. Whether that, because overcharging of batteries will damage the batteries. So charge controller is an important one. Even if you do a small MPPT algorithm based, our solar panels based, we require a charge controller. So anywhere battery is there, a mandatory controller is the charge controller. So what is the purpose of this charge controller? It monitors everything. Whatever parameters we want, we can monitor it. Battery voltage, current, temperature, our rate of charging, discharge current, okay, whatever thing we require can be monitored using this charge controller. And next one is the power electronics controller. So it is an additional part of along with my DC-DC converter. DC-DC converter also I can say the controller, but here this side, this is for another control. That DC-DC converter is in the charging side. This one is in the running side. So this controller controls the motor part. Okay, so it mainly controls the motor. So for example, what is the speed required? Okay, whether that motor is to run in motor mode or generator mode, because by changing the polarities, by using the concept of regenerative braking, it has been introduced in the recent vehicles. By using the regenerative braking, the motors are charged back. The batteries are charged back. Okay, so this concept is also used. So all these tasks are performed in this power electronics controller. So I'm not going much detail into all these things are specific areas using which, but my concentration is on the batteries charging systems only. So next one is thermal system cooling. That is, we have two components here. So one is the normal, any motor, if you do idle condition, it no temperature. When we do it in the loaded condition, what happens? A heat is produced in the motor. Okay, that is normally when you are doing in the lab, what you will do when you do the load test, we will have a drum setup. So in that drum setup, we will add some water to cool the motor, but that cannot be done in our real-time cars. Okay, so cooling pads, all those things has to be added. This is in motor side, and another one, your battery will also be getting heated. So that cooling system should be applicable for your batteries also. So when batteries is discharging, heat is produced. Okay, charging also heat is produced. Only in ideal condition, the battery will be temperature will be less. Okay. 100%. 100%. Okay, so that is the case here. So cooling as for both motor as well as for batteries has to be done. Next is the battery packs. So for the required amount, how much time or how much distance we have to travel, all those things, based on that, the battery packs will be differing. And finally, the electrical traction drive systems. Okay, so now why we are going for electrical vehicles? Some of the advantages is, major advantage first is efficiency. As I said, the number of components used is very less. Number of components very less. The efficiency is also is very high. That is, nearly it works. Our efficiency is around 77%. Whereas the vehicles which we use is from conventional vehicles, it is around 12% to 30%. So this is the uh, efficiency, energy efficiency parameter. Next one is environment. How it's pollution free. So in densely populated areas, it does not pollute. Okay, so it does not pollute the densely populated areas. Whereas you may ask a question that at the generating side, the pollution may be created. Okay, so the pollution may be created, but that too only if the source is coal based, nuclear based, hydro based, solar based, wind based, there is less pollution. Okay, when compared to coal. So it only a major 50% is been produced from coal. In other countries, it is further less. The performance benefits is also very high because as the number of components is very much reduced, the performance is high. Servicing cost, running cost, all those things is very much drastically reduced when compared to the conventional vehicles. So energy dependency, we have around the year we have a major source, that is sun. So using solar, we will get maximum energy. Only thing, we should have the required amount of money for that. But what is the drawbacks? So the major drawback is to driving range and recharge time. So the driving range is being very much improved nowadays. So around 300 miles is being produced now. Okay, but another problem is recharge time. Okay, so even a fast recharge requires half an hour of time. So I'm traveling 300 kilometers. I can't travel more than that. I have to take a break of half an hour, where a charging station should be there, fast charging station. So normal charging means every day night I have to charge it, and mornings I have to switch off it. So in residential charging means every day night around 12 hours it has to charge. Overcharging has to be, we should properly switch off the charges, all those things. Fast chargers means also this time is a major drawback. So this is the major issue. If this is not an issue, surely they're trying to address it. Because of this power electronics converters, they want to reduce this half an hour to 15 minutes. So all these things are been moving on nowadays. So based on which the time will be reduced in the future. So now we go into this. This is till now I have spoken about the introduction part about electrical vehicle, all those things. So my concentration on today, as I said, it is the energy system. Okay. So normally battery based energy system means, so only battery will be there. But there is some problems. What is the first problem is, I have a motor. Okay, so we all know that if we draw the current characteristics of a motor, we all know that the starting current will be very high, roughly minimum 3 times higher than the normal running current. So if I design a battery for such a high current, starting current, then my current for me is very, size of the batteries required is very large. So cost of the batteries will also be very high. So in order to reduce that, my battery system has to provide only the running current. if I provide some other additional source for this starting purpose, I can go for reduced cost system and reduce size of my system. So this energy storage system, if I add some battery, add some other component to the battery, then we call it as hybrid energy system or hybrid energy storage system. Okay, so by combining, so normally in our houses also we get hybrid energy system. Our consumption is a hybrid energy system, as we don't know from what type of energy. So some energies are produced using coal, some are produced using hydro, solar. So whatever be the system, so the consumed is, we'll be consuming only one form of energy. So all are combined and given. So we don't know from what type of energy I'm getting the supply. So same way also they thought of doing it for electrical vehicle. So thus is called as hybrid energy system for electrical vehicle. Normal our conventional vehicle is also hybrid, as I said. We use by electrical and gasolines. Here, if you go for batteries, what are all the other possibilities? So batteries, normal batteries, we know. In addition to that, I may have a fuel cell and super capacitor. These two are the recent advancements. So batteries, we know we have discussed a lot of things. We would have discussed a lot of things about batteries. So the fuel cell. So what is this fuel cell? That comes the question here. So it is like in battery, fuel cell is also electrochemical device only, which combines hydrogen and oxygen. So we will have the liquid hydrogen as a fuel. Liquid hydrogen cells will be there, and oxygen from atmosphere will be taken. And by combining these two, we will get a electricity. So the byproduct of this is heat and water. Okay, so this hydrogens are used, as I said, it's a liquid fuel form. So this will be used as cylinders. Okay, so this is one way of, another interesting one is the supercapacitor. This supercapacitor is the type of capacitor where a modification of the existing capacitor is done, and based on which higher power capacities can be produced. Okay, so what is the difference here? So normally in capacitors, what we will have what? Two electrodes. Okay, and in between we will have a dielectric material or some other thing. Whereas here a separator is being introduced. So this separator, what it does, it makes a single capacitor. By introducing separator, is created into a two capacitor. So electrically a single layer has now been made as electrical double layer. That's why the supercapacitors are called as electrical double layer capacitors. Okay. So in what way it is different is the capacities of supercapacitors are all very high. So the energy density, power density, all these factors are being very high of supercapacitors are very high when compared to the capacitors. So what is this energy density? Okay, so energy density means it is the ratio or how much energy a battery contains with respect to the its weight. Okay, so that is factor is very high. I'll show you a table later. So how much energy per weight or energy per kg is very high in the case of supercapacitors. Okay, so similarly, power density is also. So how much power the battery can produce per kg. So these two factors, energy density and power density. Okay, so these two factors in the case of supercapacitors are very high when compared to that of normal capacitor. Okay, so this is the supercapacitor. So capacitance we know, just for understanding purpose I have used here. It's a passive electrical element which accumulates energy in the electrical field between two conducting electrons. So now, why can't these supercapacitors can be acted as a battery? A question arises. So around in 1990s, this question arose, uh, or at least it can help the batteries. Okay, so this concept is being produced. So based on which this idea has been enhanced, and these supercapacitors were being started to assist batteries or used like batteries. So the other names of supercapacitors are ultra capacitors is the other name, or we can call it as double layer capacitor, which you have already seen why we call it as why we call it as double layer capacitor compared to normal capacitors. This capacitance concept in batteries and your fuel cells, the power energy is produced by means of electrochemical reactions, whereas in the case of capacitors, it is stored in with static charges. Because a capacitor principle, we all know that it charges and discharges. Okay, so now why can't I combine this? Why can't I produce a hybrid system by using this supercapacitors and batteries? Because initially I require high charge, okay, high current. So that time both I can use the supercapacitors, and for long run I can use the battery. So that initial burst of energy where or supercapacitors are used where high burst of energy is required. Later case, running case, I can use this batteries. Okay, so this idea was introduced, and this forms a hybrid energy storage system. That is, supercapacitor based battery system is very popular in electrical vehicles. So what are all the major advantages of using supercapacitors? So it increases the system efficiency, fast charging and discharging, speed is very high, long life cycles, in the lakhs it is, high efficiency, storage unit is improved, and lower cost of entire unit. That is, by introducing the supercapacitors, I can very easily reduce the size of the required batteries. So this concept is being used. So a comparison between the normal supercapacitors and batteries. So here the discharging time is in seconds, charging and discharging times in seconds, whereas battery charging and discharging time is very high. Life cycle greater than 5 lakhs. Okay, so 5 lakhs times it can be charged and discharged, whereas batteries 500 to 2000 based on their make. Efficiency is 90-95%. This one is battery 70 to 85%. This power density term I said no, that is amount watts per kilogram. So power density, how much energy it can provide, or sorry, how much power it can provide per kg. So it is 1000 to 2000 watts per kg, whereas battery it is 50 to 200 watts per kg. Energy density 1 to 10 watts hour per kg. Here 20 to 100 watts hour per kg. Okay, so high current, that's what it shows power density. But longer hour energy density for long time periods it cannot be used. So without battery, I can't use the supercapacitor alone to run my vehicle. It is not possible. So I require, because for continuous, because as the energy density is compared for with capacitors, it is high. But when I compare with the battery, the energy density is less. So for longer period, this supercapacitors cannot be used. But for shorter period, sudden requirement of I want to suddenly raise. So initially, the vehicle is in idle position. In the signal, the vehicle has been stopped. So now I want pickup very easily word. The pickup, I want very fast pickup because earlier electrical vehicles, the pickup was very less. Slowly it will pick up the speed. Okay. So, but in our internal combustion, the pickup will be very high. So all those things has to be addressed. So by introducing the supercapacitors, the pickup of these vehicles is very high because when I want to start, the supercapacitor will provide from idle position. Okay, all these are the task of my controller or electronics controller is there, no? So that will control all these factors. Operating temperature, normally only battery means in colder regions it is a problem. So earlier preheater and all is there. Okay, so this one is from minus 40 to plus 70 degrees Celsius. The supercapacitors can be function. So starting problems of the vehicles can also be very much avoided, even in colder places. So a pictorial representation, this battery, I'm using only battery means current is constant, okay, charges slowly and discharges rapidly. Okay, whereas battery plus supercapacitors, I can discharge fastly and variable current can be produced because battery plus capacitor a current, battery without capacitor a current will be produced. So different currents is produced. So that's a major advantage. So here battery I can provide only constant current, but whereas battery plus supercapacitor variable current can be produced. So that is why the recent electrical vehicles are having very high pickup. That is like our combustion engine. We can say I can achieve 0 to 60 in 10 seconds or 20 seconds can be very easily said. Okay, so that is the major comparison of normal energy storage system with only with battery and battery plus supercapacitor energy storage system. Okay, so this is the major factors. So that factor, supercapacitor alone cannot be used as supercapacitor batteries offer superior energy density as I shown in the table. So here in this case, the energy density is 1 to 10 only. Here it is 20 to 100. So I cannot neglect a battery. So battery offers superior energy density and it possesses higher breakdown voltage. Okay, so it does not breaks down very easily, whereas supercapacitor has a possibility that it can break down at a high voltage. Sudden high voltage, the supercapacitor may break down. But supercapacitor has its own advantage. They are light and operating limits or range longer life when compared to batteries. Okay, so this is the difference between the supercapacitors and batteries. So what is this batteries? Next task we have to go a little bit detail into this batteries. So what are all different types of batteries? There are many types of batteries currently available. So we all know that lithium ion is the most popular one. So this ion is it is an alloy. Why they are going for lithium? Because it's a very light in weight. Okay, and it can store more amount of charge capacity. So that's why we go and use the lithium. So for storage purpose, various ion means various combinations are available. For example, lithium cobalt oxide, lithium manganese oxide, lithium iron phosphate, lithium nickel manganese cobalt oxide. So like various combinations are there, or lithium nickel cobalt aluminum oxide, okay, lithium titanate. So these are all various combinations. One such one now which is becoming popular is lithium sulfur. So it is being replaced now, okay, because sulfur is very cheap when can I compare to cobalt oxide, manganese or nickel. So lithium sulfur is also a recent one. So all these ones combinations we call it as lithium ion. Okay, so lithium ion major combinations are grouped together: molten salt, nickel metal hydride, and lithium sulfur. So these are all the four populars. Okay, so lithium ion is majorly used now, but in coming future, this lithium sulfur is going to replace now. Okay, so one more material, okay, is been doing research is there, so which will be replacing all these things. Okay, that is graphene batteries. Okay, so this graphene battery is in the research stage. So Grabat is the company which producing this type of batteries. So once this batteries comes into market, then our electrical vehicle will be out of scope. So 500 miles, okay, so that means weekly once if I charge it is enough. So that concept they are bringing in for city users. Daily we are not going to travel 100 kilometers. So per week, one charge one time. So discharge 1 week, it is enough. So it will be weekly once charging. So like that they are bringing in. So what we will do, we will fill the tank and for 1 week or 10 days we will use it. So same concept here. So once this battery comes, then there will be a very major change in our electrical vehicle policies. Okay, but lithium ion also has some amount of problems. Okay, so overcharging is a problem, and the rate of discharge is a problem in lithium batteries. That's why if you see in mobile phones and all, they will say if the charge comes below 20, switch on don't bring it to 5% and all. So at 20% itself, so then only you will have a longer battery life. If you allow this discharge to too low, then the life of the battery will be reduced. Okay, so that is the case. So, but so far the lithium ion batteries are the most popular. 90% of the global market are lithium based only. So all our from smaller batteries to larger batteries. Okay, so this lithium ion batteries have been in the ruling the market. So only very smaller, cheaper batteries they use some other material. Okay, so lithium ion same way, energy density is very high in lithium ion. Okay, so and lightweight, laptops, mobile phones are all lightweights. So what is characteristics, what we call, we have some parameters. Okay, so power to weight ratio is a parameter, energy density is a parameter, specific energy is a parameter. In addition to that, power density. So these are all the some of the parameters. Weight is also a parameter, cost is also a parameter. So based on this parameters, we have to come to a conclusion which battery is the best one. So if that is the case, a table is being taken. So this shows how this parameters is the general parameters of the electrical batteries. So we take that all the batteries are fully charged, that is 100% charged, and it is used to provide around 24.2 kilowatt hour. So battery is charged, one time it is charged. So if it charges, it gives 24.2 units. Using that battery, I can run 24.2 units of supply or utilize 24.2. So with this condition, how I am going to do, or what are all the variable parameters? So maximum charge, so ampere hour. So if I compare, lithium ion is the least. Okay, so current wise, holding the current, that is discharging, is very fast in lithium ions. Whereas if I go for sodium or nickel, the value is higher. If I bring in the nickel, it can be, but not much difference. Okay. If I take hour basis, it will be some 10 minutes of difference. Okay, but because that is compensated in the cost. Voltage also. So very high voltage is produced in lithium ion based. With lithium and nickel based, you can produce very high voltage. More than 300 volts can be produced. Okay. So maximum and minimum voltage range for lithium 339 to 308. Maximum around 340 I can produce for this capacity. Whereas for sodium nickel chloride, we will produce 304 to 275, and nickel magnesium hydrate 302 to 274. For lithium sulfur 290 to 320, somewhat closer to lithium ions. Number of cells per cell row. Okay, so number of cells per cell row, in each row it is 12, 12, 20, 26. Number of this one is 17, 30, 21. So number of cells required for producing this voltage in lithium sulfur is very less. Okay, so 17 into 12 is the amount of cells in lithium ion, whereas in lithium sulfur it is only 26, 1 into 26. So that's the cell number of cells and sizes get reduced. Okay, resistance is same. Operating temperature. See this sodium nickel chloride is very high, 270. Okay, it's a major drawback here. So because of that, we have to eliminate it. And next one, specific heat transition. Okay, so this specific heat transition value is also very high in the sodium nickel chloride form, whereas comparatively it is much or less, whereas in lithium sulfur it is very less. Okay, next one, specific heat capacity. So the specific heat capacity, as I said earlier, amount of energy required to charge, sorry, I didn't say the amount of heat energy required, okay, to change the temperature of 1 kg of a material by 1 Kelvin. So that is the specific heat capacity. It's the amount of heat energy required to change the temperature. Okay, so this is very high. Okay, so how much energy is required to cool or heat or cool an object of a given mass is given. So yeah, change of temperature. So this factor is little bit problem in lithium sulfur, but we can take it that heating also it will be very slow. Cooling also is difficult. Same way, heating also it slowly gets heats up. So once if we avoid the maximum temperature to be reached, this one is a very successful one. This lithium sulfur based battery. Okay, mass of the battery is also lithium sulfur is very less. Battery price is also very less when compared to the other batteries. Okay, so only one factor that also I can make it the specific heat capacity also I can make it as advantageous one by not allowing to overheat of the batteries. Okay. By this factors only, lithium sulfur is becoming very popular. So the transition is taking place from lithium ion to lithium sulfur. Okay. So we have seen what are all the batteries now available. So batteries plays a vital role in the electrical vehicles. So because I want to overcome this conventional energy system, if the vehicle produced should be of very close, I should not feel any difficulty. So when I'm riding a normal conventional vehicle, whereas I'm riding a electrical vehicle, I should be feeling the same amount of comfort in driving. Okay, so because of this only, lot of research on that driving comfort is not available in the earlier electrical vehicles, but now the driving comfort, due to the advancement in electrical engineering, the driving comfort is provided. So because of this only, we have been able to make this electrical vehicle, now recent electrical vehicles nowadays popular. But once the cost mass production is there, cost will be defaultly be reduced. Okay, so this is making popular because of this term. Super capacitor. By super, what advantages are there? But here comes a question whether I have to connect this super capacitor in the load side or in the supply side. So that question comes. So in the load side, if we connect, what happens? Battery side, a battery will be there, that will be a DC link, and to the normally capacitors, what we will do in the load side. Okay, so for example, fan is there. Okay, so we connect the because fans are capacitor start, capacitor run induction motors. So like that, we use our electrical fans where the condenser is connected or the capacitor is connected. It is connected near the load side. So always these capacitors, they connect in the load side. So with that idea, if I connect the capacitors to the load side, what happens? So the DC bus voltage varies the voltage level of the super capacitor banks. So the capacitors are charged with different voltage levels. So the charging will not be proper. So that is a problem. So if you want, we can add a DC-DC converter, then we can charge the supercapacitor. But what happens? That becomes again bulky. So I have to connect a DC-DC converter, a controller mechanism for the DC-DC converter. Okay, so which in turn increases the cost. So my ultimate aim is to reduce the cost and reduce the size. So because of this, what happens? I am changing the idea of connecting the capacitors from the load side to connecting the capacitors at the source side. Okay, so then what happens? Only one converter is sufficient for me to controlling. Okay, so by doing so, loss can be reduced, cost can be reduced. Okay, so the drawbacks of electrical vehicle, we all know that the standalone battery system with an energy capacity size to propel the electrical vehicle some distance at moderate speed on a single charge is not sufficient. Okay, well, we are doing a lot of research on this. So on the batteries illama, we are bringing in the some other factors like super capacitors for producing higher capacities. Okay, so that is my, as I said earlier, the same comfort what is there in IC engines or combustion engines has to be achieved in the electrical vehicles also. Electrical vehicles also, right? So for that only all this process is being used. Okay, so the super, as I said earlier, super capacitors or we call ultra capacitors. So to produce this initial burst of powers. So with this combination, a battery and supercapacitors hybrid operation tries to solve all these issues, like the comfort. As I said, the driving comfort. These two combinations provides a improved solution for this problem. Okay, so hybrid operation provides a improved solution over the standalone battery design in terms of power management and control flexibility. So more flexibility for the drivers is provided. Okay, in addition to this, the using of supercapacitors or ultra capacitors, the size of the battery banks can be reduced, which in turn reduces the cost. Okay, so another advantage of this combination is this battery is not prone to supply peak and sharp power variation. So sudden change, batteries cannot handle sudden change because the batteries provide constant current. If I put lot of stress on this battery, the lifetime of the battery is also reduced. So now all these stresses is being absorbed by the supercapacitors or ultra capacitors. So therefore, this ultra capacitor does not allow any stress to pass on to the batteries, which in turn increases more lifetime of the batteries and effectiveness of the batteries. Okay, as a result of this, the more distance can be traveled. So fuel economy means here what happens, increases the fuel economy means, so because of uneven conditions in our road, sudden braking or all these things is taken care by the ultra capacitor. So your battery does not feel any stress or over discharge of batteries is not allowed. Therefore, more distance of batteries can be achieved, which in turn the energy density factor is increased. Batteries energy efficient factors are increased by using the ultra capacitors. So a sample system is taken here. Okay, a hybrid energy storage system is taken here, a DC-DC converter, battery, and the supercapacitors. Okay, so this is the basic system. So this is the supply side. So yeah, this is the supply side. So from here we will have the load side. The motor will be connected to my right side of the DC bus. So here, what are all different conditions? So think of a vehicle. So what are all the different conditions we get? Okay, so one is the initial starting condition. Okay, next one is the running condition, that is the vehicle will not move, idle condition, we may say it, call it as the idle condition. Okay, so we call it as the idle condition. So starting condition, running condition or idle condition. Next one, loaded condition, the vehicle is running. So these are all the three conditions. So how the current is now going to take it, how the current is provided for the motor under these three conditions. So I'm going to start the vehicle, either it will be in idle or it will be in running condition. So how the supply is provided. So the first supply, when it is started, it will be provided by the initial for first 2 seconds. The starting current will be very high. That will be provided by my supercapacitor. Once my normal current is taken, the supply is provided from the battery. So this is the first process. So during starting condition, this will happen. So next one is the running condition, that is idle condition. Now in this condition, the vehicle is not moving, it is in the idle position. So now what happens? So battery is charging the supercapacitor as well as it is providing the required current for the motor. Okay, next one, running condition. Okay, so or loaded condition, so sudden breakage or it has been running. So all these things in this condition will be taken care by this supercapacitors. Okay, so normal running condition, idle or in the smooth running conditions, your battery will be allowed supporting. So this is the three various cases in which we operate the hybrid energy storage system. So advantages of this type of system is, so proper power budgeting based on the specific characters. So very much clearly the design controller will be designed such a way that the supply will be given to the machine. So by doing so, higher efficiency, longer life, and wear and tear is achieved. Less wear and tear, okay, is achieved. The combination is also advantage to store, okay, store the charges, supply, recapture, by using regenerative braking, we can recapture it.
Sir. 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 Sir, am I audible? Sir, your voice is not audible.
Hello, sir. Am I audible now?
Sir, you're audible, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sorry
Yes,
for
sir.
sorry for that. Can you tell me from which slide it has been disrupted? Any idea? ఇప్పుడు ఉంది ఇప్పుడు
Sir, you're audible, sir.
Okay. Shall I share my screen, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me from where it has stopped, ma'am?
Sir, our
Different
session is
topologies?
ended at. Sir?
Ma'am, no. From where I should start? Just now it has been disrupted or earlier disrupted? Just want to ask that.
Just now, sir.
Okay. Right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Right. So I'll continue here. So there are different topologies which you have seen. So the basic topology is passive parallel configuration. Okay. So this is the basic topology or first developed topologies. Okay, so here the two power sources are in parallelly they are connected. Okay, because DC, both are DC in nature. It's a very simplest method. The output of both the sources are directly connected to the DC link via a bidirectional DC-DC converters. Why you use a bidirectional converter? Because during regenerative braking side, the charging can be done. From the DC link, the motor drive is connected. So from the motor drive, the motor is made to run. Okay, so that is the mechanical load. So as the load increases, the motor current will tend to increase, which in turn what happens will decrease the DC link voltage. Okay, so the bidirectional converter has to take care of this factor also. So if it does not take care, what happens? More power will be drawn by on the storage system. So this is the process. Whenever braking is done, the motor drive operates as generator and captures the braking energy back to the DC link. So that's why we used the bidirectional DC-DC converters. This topology is very simple and a cost-effective manner of hybrid system. So, and it is expected that the ultra capacitor will act faster than the battery due to its lower time constant. Okay, so that is this basic topology. So next little bit, another topology. Here we go for ultra capacitor. This ultra capacitor is charged and discharged via the bidirectional DC-DC converters. Okay, this is the most commonly used configuration. Okay, so the most commonly configuration, the UC terminal is connected to the DC link via a DC-DC converters. So, and the battery is directly connected to the DC link. Okay, so another way. Okay, so this is one way of. So another way of connection can also be done, because at this point both the voltages are same. Okay, so I can have this point can be, batteries can be separately connected to the DC link, and these connection can also be separately connected. So two different connections can be there, can be produced. Both this battery and ultra capacitors will meet near this DC link alone. Okay, right, this is another way of configuration. My third way of configuration is just interchanging. So battery now is given to this connected to the bidirectional or unidirectional converter, that is given to the DC link. Okay, ultra capacitor is directly connected. As I said, this configuration also, ultra capacitors can be separately connected to the DC link, and this battery and converter can be separately connected to this DC link. So parallel combination also can be achieved here. So the main advantage of this topology is that the battery voltage can be maintained at a lower level. Okay, for example, normally we require 48 volts for the motor drive minimum, but here the battery, when compared to the earlier case, thus here the battery pack is directly connected to the DC link. So the voltage level of the battery should be equal to the voltage level of the motor, whereas in this case that is not the case. So in this case the battery voltage can be less, but current rating has to be high, because DC-DC converter is nothing but a DC transformer. If I step up the voltage, my current is going to be decreased. Okay, right? So in this case, the regenerative braking charges only the capacitor. So that's why instead of bidirectional, I can go for unidirectional also. Very rarely it goes for the battery pack. Okay, so during regenerative braking, the capacitor alone is charged. Okay, so next one, fourth topology is cascaded converter topology. Here both for charging ultra capacitor, control ultra capacitor, yeah, bidirectional converter is introduced. Okay, for one energy storage device, one converter is provided. Okay, so here the cascading of supply is done. So both battery and the ultra capacitors can be decoupled, okay, from each other. I can have two separate. It need not to be in a single line. This DC link, I can have two connections. One connection ultra capacitor converter and DC link. Another battery converter and DC link. Like that also I can give the connection. The most preference is given for the battery converter, because this battery converter only controls the output current, based on which only the stress of the batteries and all include are there. So more importance is given to the converter of the batteries. But the disadvantage of this type of converter is the additional losses. Okay, so two converters are introduced. So as said earlier, the losses is high. So that can be that can be avoided. But same way as in the earlier case, the battery and capacitor and converter positions can be switched or can be changed. So next topology is multiple parallel connected converter configuration. So as I said earlier, the DC link, it is connected parallelly. Okay, battery pack and EC pack. Here what happens? Bidirectional. In regenerative braking, both are used. Okay, both the ultra capacitors is also charged and battery packs can also be charged. Okay, so it looks as though it is multi-input converter, but not multi-input converter. So it's both are single supply converters. In future, next we will be coming with multi-input converters. So before going to this, there is a possibility that this converters have to be operating both in buck and boost mode. Okay, buck mode means the voltage has to be reduced. Boost mode means the voltage has to be increased. So all these converters has to be working in both buck mode and boost mode. Okay. Next one, we go to this multiple dual active bridge converter configuration. Okay. So that is, we go in for earlier buck boost converters are there. So it is used to step up or step down the voltage. Okay. But at the cost of negative voltage output. Negative voltage cannot be handled there. Therefore, an inverting transformer is usually employed. Only positive output voltage the buck boost converters can function. If I don't want to use buck boost converter, if I negative that, I have to go in for a converter. So all these problems were there. Okay. So here, yeah, another topology. Okay. So your DC is converted to AC, and that AC is either stepped up or stepped down, based on which again it is converted to DC and it is given to this. So that is the configuration given here. So this dual active bridge converter with two input sources is shown here. So it is what happens, it completely isolation is provided. Basic advantage of transformer is isolation. Okay, so your input side and output sides are completely isolated. So that is the major advantage of this circuit. Okay, so this transformers is a problem, because why we are preferring DC-DC converters, because this added volume size, transformer size is bulky and additional cost. AFA transformer cost when compared to DC transformer, DC-DC converter cost is very less. But the advantage is more inputs can be combined. because magnetically only the signals are transferred. Only magnetically input and output side is magnetically coupled. So n number of sources can be combined, not in this way of DC part. Okay. So little bit advanced circuit. Okay. So in this circuit, the size switches are being reduced. Instead of that, capacitors has been produced. Okay. So earlier was a full bridge converter was used. Now off bridge converters are used. So that is the only difference here. So both are same configuration, but here full bridge is used, here off bridge is used. But the performance is going to be the same. Next is the topology dual source bidirectional converter configuration. Okay. So single converter has been dealt here. So in this dual source, so multiple source, a multi-input DC-DC converter. Okay, we have seen that. We call it as MISO, multiple input, single output. Okay, so it's that type of converter. So dual source bidirectional converter configuration. Okay, so that is the case here. So in this converter, individual converters are not there. Earlier, individual converters will share the output that will be combined. So instead of paralleling the converter's output at the DC link, it has been parallel at the input side of the converter. So output side of converter we are doing at the paralleling operation. Okay, so the dual source bidirectional converter configuration only is shown here. So we can replace a sample circuit is shown here with 2 inductors, 3 switches, but we can replace with n number of converters. A basic idea and configuration of how this energy storage system functions. Next one, another way of configuration, that is multiple input converter configuration. Okay, so now both the sides of current, when only positive current is not taken here, positive side alone current is not taken here in this. Okay, so multiple input, it gives flexibilities. Very easily I can add or remove a voltage source. Okay, so like that it can be very easily done. So that is the purpose of this. Time is time. Okay, next is the multiple, another combination here, multiple mode single converter configuration. So in this design, only one bidirectional converter is required. Okay, so because of this, because the UC voltage now is kept higher than the battery packs, like in earlier case. So this UC is directly connected to the DC link here. Okay, so this is another configuration. So next one is interleaved converter configuration. Interleaved converter is available. So multiple stage of boosting of voltages can be done here. And another configuration, switched capacitor. These are all various types of converters which are available. Okay, so we have a switched interleaved DC-DC converters, switched capacitor DC-DC converters. So by replacing it, we can be using it. And the next one is coupled inductor based hybridization architecture. Okay, so by using coupled inductors, energy transfer is taking place. So these are all the advancement. Day by day, the advancement are done very fastly in the field of DC-DC converters. So because of that, we have been doing this. Advancement is going on very fastly. Okay, because of time explanation of circuit, I'm reducing it. So so far we have seen we are coming to the final part of this presentation. So the energy storage devices. So this hybrid electrical vehicles. So along with one combination we have seen UC and battery. Along there are many other combinations. We have such processes going on. So by using flywheels, compressed air storage system, superconducting magnetic storage system. So all these concepts, research work are going on. So still investigation is going on in all these energy storage systems, so that in near future, in another 10 years, we will have a very good electrical vehicle, which is very closer or better than internal combustion engines in driving comfort. So that is the main aim of this energy storage devices. So with this, I finish my presentation. So any queries you can ask.
Sir,
Yeah, ma'am. Tell me, ma'am.
participants. Participants, are you having any queries?
Hello, sir.
Tell me, sir.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Tell me, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, tell me, sir.
You are hearing my voice?
Yeah, you are audible, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, what is the output of fuel cell, sir? How it is drive the load, sir?
So the output of fuel cell is electrical energy only, sir.
Electrical
So
energy.
that electrical energies can be used along with the battery supplies, so that we can make it also can be done in a hybrid form. Instead of using super capacitors, the fuel cells can be used for producing the additional electrical supplies.
That is whether it produces this high current or instantly it will produce.
Instantly it will produce. It is also electrochemical reaction only, sir. Like our batteries, only the electrochemical reaction process there.
That means, suppose if the hydrogen is combined with oxygen, then how the electricity is going to be produced? I do not know actually. That was my confusion.
Okay, sir. Sir, it is a electrochemical process. So, like in our batteries, we are having various metal inside our batteries. So, for example, lithium sulfate. Okay, so in lithium sulfate, we are using this metal with our electrochemical process.
Okay.
We are producing the electrical energy, sir. We are storing the electrical energy and we are getting back this electrical energy. In same way, also in fuel cells, this electrochemical process takes place. A lot of hydrogen fuel cells has been now very much popular, sir. Honda is creating research work based on this hydrogen cells. So this hydrogen cells, normally water is a very easily available product. So this hydrogen cells combines with water, it produces, because of this heat is produced. So that heat, using that heat, electrochemical energies are produced.
Then I was I was not known that whether it produces sufficient amount of electricity or not.
That's why it's not much popular. So still now research is going on.
Yes,
even in flywheels also we don't produce much power, sir. Okay. Magnetic form of storage energy. There are many forms of storage energies, no, sir. Even there also we are not able to get everything. Flywheel is not much popular, but research is going on, sir.
presently means you have to use only batteries along with supercapacitors.
Yeah, that is the recent popular, even Tesla is using those concepts, sir. If you see the Tesla Model 10 configurations also, they are using this concept for producing power, sir.
Okay, sir. Very
Okay,
informative, sir, your session. Huh?
Thank you very much, sir.
Really, you have explained very nicely.
Thank you
sir.
very much. If you want, you can search out, sir, because it's fuel cell is also it's a chemical reaction process only, sir.
Chemical
If you
reaction.
see in the Googles, you will get like cells to electrolytic transformation. We would have studied in our smaller days now, sir. So like
Yes,
it's a process where current is produced. Two electrodes will be there. So by in those two electrodes, current will be due to this reaction process, current will be produced.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Very much.
Okay, sir. Welcome, sir.